Living Heritage is designed to highlight, examine, and celebrate elements of the rich cultural heritage of St. Kitts and Nevis. Journey with us as we explore our distinct and immersive culture. Welcome to a life of pride in our past and confidence in our present and future. Welcome to Living Heritage. Welcome to Living Heritage, our ICH documentary series of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is our pleasure to take you along on this journey into Season 1 of 2025. Last year, we had some exciting episodes that shared the traditions and lifestyle of our nationals, as well as the initiative, ingenuity, and fierce independence of our people. This year, we introduce you to some TKBs, traditional knowledge bearers, who can explain some of the cultural practices that you have always wondered about. Today, to whet your appetite, we begin Season 1 in the ICH domain of oral traditions and expressions, including language as a vehicle of intangible cultural heritage. The element is storytelling. Naomi Harris, or TKB, recalls some of her life experiences that generally were reflective of the way of life and the values of people in her community. Some practices were and sometimes are still annual events that form part of the traditional fabric of St. Kitts as part of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Listen as TKB Mrs. Harris weaves her tale for you.
My name is Naomi Douglas Harris. I was born on the 6th of August 1948, and I grew up in the Newtown area. I grew up in George Street for a while. I was living in a small house in George Street, a small wooden house, George Street, where you know that it's just a bedroom, it's a one room, and my parents used to sleep on one side and I sleep on the other side with a piece of material they make to separate us. I am the only child of my parents, and I grew up where people say you grew up with a silver spoon, but I grew up nicely. My mother taught me. My parents taught me very well, and I attended Roman Catholic school. And going there, our uniform used to be blue jumper, and the boys khaki with the blue shirt. I remember in women's school, I started at 5, and you continue go up in the classes and so on. But I remember when I used to go to school at that time, we used to go to church. The Roman Catholic Church was there, and we used to go to church first. And after that, we come in our classes. And at that time, we used to have a silver bowl with milk powder, milk. We used to have that. And lunchtime, we used to have really rice. An old lady named by Miss Hughes, she used to come to cook in a butter pan. And then they cut the drums, they make the big pan, and we used to have to look sticks and things for the 4 cornerstones that day. And she used to cook rice, but it used to be soft and watery. So we get our lunch there, and when we get our lunch, it used to be the rice with a little piece of pig mouth on it. So we used to say, Roman school sappy rice, Roman school sappy rice. And we enjoyed it, as growing up there, and the children were friendly. We didn't have fights and those kind of things like now, but we used to have that. I remember that my mom used to give me pennies. It used to be a penny and a halfpenny and those things. And I used to go to a gentleman had a little shop. You used to have small shops. And I used to give me my penny, and I used to go to a gentleman shop, Mr. Bertie, and I asked, can I get bread? And I used to get 4 little round bread for a penny. Then We used to use Mr. Fulton used to have a bakery there too, and we used to go and ask if can we get a little butter in the bread. And those days the butter used to be kind of orangish and salt, so we do that. Some children they used to have fig. We used not banana where we used to say today, but figs, and they eat it with the fig or sugar cake in the bread. So it was a lot of fun growing up there. The Roman school used to have nuns, and my favorite nun was teacher. I don't remember her name, but she was from Germany, and she taught me very well. And of course, you have to know the Bible because they will tell us about the religion and those stuff and so on. But it was good. In recess time, we used to have the fun. We used to carry a marble and we pitch. You know, we had that. We used to sing. We used to have dance stories really. And so we used to sing "Young Young Girl in the Ring" and "Tra-la-la" and "Drop a Letter to My Love." Someone pick it up and we run around. And a couple of nice songs we used to sing. We used to do that. But it was fun, really fun. We had a lot of characters, but I'm going to talk about three. We used to have Ralph Toter and George Street and Mandy Sweeney. We used to call her Mama Maisie. And she makes sure that when it's Sunday school time, you got to go to Sunday school and you have to know your golden text. And Old Clark. And the community was good. It was fun in the community. Ralph Toder had a shop in George Street, and he also was a tailor. And we used to go there to buy it too. Very friendly man, smiles, and make a joke, and say, children, go to school and learn well. Go to school and learn. You know, and it was nice. We had Maisie Sweeney. We used to call her Mama Maisie. And we used to go on her porch. We used to land in at those time. And she taught us Sunday school lessons too. So it was a lot of different things we used to do there. Old Clark, he used to come around to check us, to see what the children go to school. We had to go to school, go around and he make us used to go to school, and he used to talk about Nancy's stories too. He used to tell us a lot of different stories, how he brought up and what school he used to go to, and he was very encouraging. He gave us good encouragement that we got to, as children, we have to behave safe, our character have to be shown, and we have to be decent in dressing. And he told us a lot of different stories. In those days, we used to have books. We used to go up at the library. Remember the library was across by the square there? And something where they had raincoats on in it, we had to to go up the step, to go up to the library, and we look for books for having stories like Cinderella and Jack and the Beanstalk and Bears Going Up the Mountain. And we used to, together, we used to read about them, the children, we used to read about it. And we used to read a lot of different stories. Jack and Jill went up the hill, went to catch a pail of water. Jack fell down and break his corn, and Jim came tumbling after. And we used to sing those songs. And Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, and Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Those kind of songs we used to sing. I used to do sports too. We used to play rounders in school. The boys play cricket and football, but we used to play rounders. When boys and girls used to mix, it was like a ring. It was a ring, and we used to fling the ball to each other. And if you miss the ball, you step out, because you lose, and then we go around and round, that day, and we go around like that. And it was fun, because sometimes you don't want to beat everybody, so you fling the ball and try to catch the ball, and if you drop the ball, we're out. So somebody's coming and we do all those kind of things. But it was good. When we used to have a toothpoles with net, and they would be one side and the other side. And we used to knock the ball and they catch it and they knock it back to us and we knock them back. That was one of the sports we used to do too. My family life was just quiet people, they were very quiet. And as I am the only child of my parents, I had to be well prepared when I know how to talk to children, because sometimes when you're playing your marble thing and they lose, I don't want to hit you, and then you're gonna hit them back, and then you're gonna tell your mother, well, mama get them, they beat me off, they beat me off for my own thing, but it was good. The community was good. We used to help one another. Really used to help. The parents help. I remember one time my mother was cooking soup, and she put so much water in the flour that she ran out of flour, and she said, but my nickname was Esme. Esme, go by the neighbor and asked her if she could get a little bit of flour. And we will get that. And likewise, they will do the same thing. We go out. It was really nice. Well, my mother, she was the only child of her mother. And she said in school time, because she went to school, I think it was the girls' school in those days, and on weekends, her mother used to go to look tobacco leaves, and my grandmother and mama, they roll them, make them like cigars, and then we go and sell them. My grandmother used to have sugar cake and peanuts, roast peanut, and lozenge. That lozenge make with sugar, and having a little bit of the peppermint oil in it. And my cousin, we used to sell it on a Saturday time, to go and sell it. That we used to do that. It was fun. As I grew up and became an adult, I used to work at the craft house up on the pasture. It was small, and the government had bringing 2 people from India. I remember one named Mr. Majid. He used to teach us how to do things out of the coconut branches, and we used to make hangers in the coconut, the coconut branches. We take out the stem, and those was the bones to make the hangers. He make up a lace machine out of wood. The boys used to make that, and we used to have thread in it. He's designed it that we can put the pointers in, and we bring them to make mats, and we used to make hangers. And then the boys used to cut out with wood like a palm tree or like a mango tree, something, like a little ornament, and we used to stick it on it and advertise it to whoever. Sometimes tourists used to come to the tour, and they used to buy it. The boys used to have pieces of wood, and they smooth them down nice, and then they will drop pictures on it, and then we will color it. A matter of fact, I have one day that I did at the Senior Club. We were nice, we had fun. We used to, when we come from school, we used to play around, our parents around, sitting all by the wayside, and we used to have fun there too. And when you see, the crop was on at the time, sugar cane, and when you see 9 o'clock come, the first horn blow, and then the second horn, all of us were playing, we had to run to the pipe, and we wash our feet, and we come in to sleep. We used to have fun with that. We used to also go down to, when it's recess time, we used to go to buy, people used to be sending their little sweets and so on, and we used to go with the penny and we halfpenny, and we buy the jawbone breaker that was famous. We used to love that, and the sugar cake. Yes. And also, when it is holiday time, we used to go down to look almond, down the Bay Road there. We used to make with almond sugar cake. We used to go to we go in the bigger swim. And we go and we swim, and we used to dig scuttle, and some little roaches used to come out of the sand, and we used to carry them home and cook them, and tell the parents, cook them for us. We shell out we boil the scuttle, we boil the cockroach, they turn red like the lobster, and we used to have a lot of fun. I remember one time we used to go at that pond pasture. That time pond pasture wasn't like that. It was a vast land. Yes, and the garbage heap used to be there. So we used to go and carry our garbage. Everybody go and carry the garbage there. And when rain come, we used to have poodles of water and birds and so used to be around it. And we used to go and knock down the birds thing. We used to call them pond bird. And we bring them to our parents and we fry them first and we eat everything. Then when turnips were in, we used to, when the parents used to cook at that time was oil stove and coal pot. And we used to roast the skinny seed. Skinny seed in the coal pot, the ashes from the coal pot. And it was fun. You know, we pitch, we marble and we enjoy ourselves. School holidays, we used to go to outings. We used to go down in Tepe, and Tepe used by the sea. And right now we have a restaurant there. In the area, there was a restaurant name again that was right there. Old and Lemon, and we used to go there, coconut trees and things. We used to walk with the crackers bag and we used to press it on top of, you know, and we sit down and we talk and we joke and we eat and so on. And everything used to be good. It was fun, we glad we get to go. That time was there a lot of cars and those kind of things, modern cars and things, you know. It was like trucks. And we used to go and pick up. And we go there and we enjoy really have time. The old church, when we come from Sunday school, we go down there. That time there was a wood pier. We used to step. You know, you have a little space, we had to be careful where we go in, we step down and we step down. And we used to play down there and run up and down there by the whole church. We used to go there. And I remember that man of war used to come in, you know, sailors from England used to come. So when they come in, you know, my father used to hire bikes. So they used to come to get their bike to go around the areas and so on. And then they would get their money and so on. And then we used to say, no, man of war coming. And when they come, we started to say, man of war, man of war, man of war in the harbor. Man of war, we're going to never come back. You know, those days were great, great days. The parents used to go to England to do, you know, to get jobs. Maybe, you know, they used to go there to get jobs. And they used to have it that night. They had a gentleman by the name, he was from the Middle East, his name was Syria, they were from Syria. And he was the agent for that thing there. And when we know the steamer coming in, the parents, we go down there to see who are going to England. And we will watch them, and they had a little suitcase. That time it wasn't suitcase, you know. It was like boxes, you know, they go, the trunk, yes, it used to be trunk. And they go on and they wish to the family, we hear the hug up, the cry and everything. And so first you just had the boat anchored in the sea water. So you also had a rowboat. So they used to row, you know, take turn and they go and they go and they go. Yes, people used to go to England.
We'll be right back with more from TKB, Mrs. Naomi Harris, after these ads.
That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to the St. Kitts Craft House. This is where life begins. And what we create will leave you speechless. We train, we create, we promote, and we maintain the highest standards. Experience life for yourself. The premier craft and production facility in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Living Heritage continues as TKB, Mrs. Naomi Harris, continues to tell us about times gone by.
When Christmas time come, you know, we good. We used to have a lot of land was next there by the, you know, the upper side there. And we used to listen to, we had two steel band. It wasn't brass time, it was steel band. And we used to go and listen, the boys then play the pan. One of our main motto was to listen to the music what they played. Not these Bollywood was that, but it was, you know, Nancy stories and so on, and songs. And the one of the steel band was, our side was Invaders. And Willie's side was Boston Tigers, you know. So we used to enjoy ourselves. And I remember that at Christmas time also, we used to have grass bed. Our parents used to have grass bed, and because for the tail, they wanted to make the cloth to put them in to make the bed. It wasn't fancy beds. And at the prison, the boys them used to go out to look dry coconut and cut out the husks, and the thing. And so some parents had grass bed, some had the husks bed from the coconut shells. My parents and other parents, then in the community, they used to go to look the grass, and they used to have them, a lot. We used to stuff them in the bed. And at those times, we didn't have nice bed set until we had settee. Those settees. So at Christmas time, like Christmas Eve, they were they start stuffing. We start stuffing them in the bed, and then we would jump down in the bed because we want to go first. So we jump down in the bed, and it was fun. We used to have that. Or the settee was like 2 iron bars to make, 2 iron bars. And it also had a coil spring. They used to lay it on top of the bars, and when we jump on top of the bed, I remember one time we had bugs. We used to knock on the city. You say, "Look, a bug walking. Where the bug come from?" And we used to go and we take off the grass bed, and we knock out bugs. Like this. Everybody used to complain about the bugs. Even when we got to Sunday school, our clothes had a little bug. We just used to laugh because we know the situation. But they had a drugstore in downtown in 4th Street, and he used to said something for that bug. Scary. And we used to get them, but they used to have the flit pan. We throwing the oil in it and those things, and we start and the bugs them dropping. It used to be fun because we used to laugh. Clown and masquerade and bowl. I used to love the bowl. I like when he run us. I used to like the bowl. But he wanted to dance with me, and I wasn't in that dancing. And my children used to like the masquerade and so on. They used to like that. Well, we used to have at that time in Christmas. We used to have a Christmas tree in the square. I joined the 4-H with Mr. Basil Henderson, and they used to have a tall Christmas tree in there. And Santa Claus can come with the bag of things, and he dressed like Santa Claus, and the children excited. They want to get the toy, shoving, pushing to get the toy. And we get the toy, and it was good because only once a year when Christmas comes we get our toys. Children girls get the toy, the dolls, and the boys get the car. And at Christmas time they had a man down named Mr. Franks. He used to sell those red apples and grapes and those kind of things. We used to call them English apples, so we used to get that. But we used to go in the square, and then we used to play in the square and those kind of things too. Well, we used to have. I remember my parents, we used to go around sing Christmas songs. We used to sing Christmas songs, and it was interesting. And jingle bells, jingle all the way. We love that. That's what we used to like. And we have little bells, and we shake it, and so it was good too. Make a business was that if your mother and her husband or her boyfriend have a fight, and decide to say words, and so they had a man named Cooley. He used to call, and Christmas time he used to say, "Make a business coming round," and we want to hear what they can say. And then he would say, "When the man tell the woman this, and the woman tell you that," and then they fight, and then they go back, and they come lovers again. Those days was that. He did not used to call the names of the people, but he acted what they were saying. He was a very good actor. And Christmas time, I never used to be in a Jubilee morning. We used to have Jubilee morning. The old people, the ladies had on the gown, and the men have on the pajamas. Some of them have a paw on the head, a basin. And we were in the gun, and then my mother used to say, "I'm going to make a patchwork skirt My neighbor had a patchwork of two of us used to have a patchwork skirt where we're going to see the parade and those kind of things. The patchwork work is that two pieces of different materials that they join together, and they put an elastic around in the waistband. So we used to have them. They were short, you know. The kite flying, you know, it usually be like a Good Friday. And a lot of houses in Boston, you know, a lot of wastelands and so on, and we used to go and fly the kite. My dad used to work with boats, so he used to carry some of the children to put up the kite, and we tied them, and they flown over the sea. They flown over the sea. Some used to get Greenlands. It wasn't Greenlands at that time, but it was a vast empty land, and some were there. And some were even on the pasture, because no houses were there as yet. Well, they had a lady by the name of Gloria Gums. She was living in George Street too. And she used to make the kites out of the cushion papers, different colors, and sticks. And she made the kites, and we used to buy our kites. She used to make fly catchers to our house before to catch the flies out of the same cushion paper. She used to do that. She always used to make the costume for the clown. Yes, when the clown time, she got a lot of job doing, making costumes, different materials that she bought either from C. Haley or Miss Granny, you know, those things. Yeah. Well, we used to have electricity, not as much as it is today. And we used to be around with the ladies, our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and they tell us stories. They tell us a lot of different stories when they were growing up. Yeah. When they used to have workmen go up on top of the poles to put on lighting. The lighting usually come on like 6 o'clock. And by 6 o'clock next morning, it's off. And we used to play on the light because we had to have a light to play. You understand that? It was good. It was good. And when the light come on, we say, oh, the light come on. We was excited, light come on, let's play. Well, at the time it was sugarcane. Sugar was king at those days. And we used to go there to look sugarcane. Sometimes we see some of the boys, we jump up on top of the engine when they're going to pull out the sugarcane and so on for us to eat. And when it's crop time over, you know, the horn blow off. It blow off. We say, Lord, crop over, no more sugarcane. But they used to leave the little pieces in the fields. And as children, we used to call them bumpers. We used to go and suck them and sometimes bring them home. And that was how we used to be. Well, the community where we got, as I told you about the Senior Citizens Club, they was asking who can read a story or tell a story. And everybody was crying, me, not me, I can't do that. So I said, well, let me do it. And so we went up with Miss Doe and another lady was there with us, and I had a book, and I was reading a story about a little girl. I don't remember her name, but the story about I read is about a little girl. Her parents was from Trinidad, but she born here, and she was living the story. And they talk about the fishes in the sea, and the story about the fish in the sea, and some of the story had in stories that we have known about it. I think she was a young girl, Corinne Clark. Yes, I read that story to him, and he was very interested. He was very interested. The children love it. It was exciting. I told them it was exciting, and they were anxious to hear, especially my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. I sit them around the table or on the floor, and I tell them the lifestyle when they were growing up. And they say, Mama, a penny, you used to get 4 bread for a penny? I say, yes, you used to get that. And what, butter too, salt, butter? I say, yes. Those were the days. And we used to go to Miss Fulton's shop and buy saltfish cake. And we put it in with bread. We used to do all of that. And we used to go by, we used to have a store there in George Street too. we used to sell sodas. We used to say sodas at the time, but it used to be cola. I used to like the red cola. Used to like the red cola. And we go there and then we go by Fulton Bakery and we buy cake, coconut drop. Together. And then another bow, a gentleman by the name of Claudy, he used to sell Marby. So he used to sell it by the butter pan. So you used to go and you get your butter pan and Marby, maybe for like a 50 cent, or maybe a quarter pound, how much you want. But it was more sugar water than Marby. So we used to call it Claudy Sugar Marby, Claudy Marby. It is a round pan, a round tin pan. You got big ones, you had smaller ones, so you ask for what size you want. And he put it up to the boy, and you see the fat come up, but when you taste it, it's all that Marby, it was more sugar water. But when we used to have a lot of sugar water, we drink a lot of swank. We used to drink swank. Our parents make a lot of sugar. And we used to make a song, and then we had to eat it with bread or tart or, and those things. That's the number one thing we have to do, and we must do it. Tell our children who are growing up today, because some of them don't anything. Sometimes if I see them and I say, remember I was growing up, you used to do, I used to do not 10 minutes, I used to go down to see what, I used to pound almond. I say, yes, we used to do those things, and your parents should have told you all of that too, but the children today need to know the memories of long time stories of growing up as a child. First, our character, our behavior, our manners. We have to say morning and afternoon when we see our neighbors. Don't pass them like that. We have to say morning, and we don't say morning, they're going to tell our parents that you shall pass, and then she names say morning, and we get licks. We used to get licks for that. So we have to instill the goodness and the lifestyle of a long time ago. We need to come back to that. We need to have forums, and we need to have like groups of the elderly, go and tell the different stories and educate, because it's education. These days there is a lot of nonsense and so on, but brass band was at the time, and the music that I don't like what they're singing sometimes, and the carnival and everything, but we got to enjoy it anyhow.
Thank you for viewing our first episode of Living Heritage for 2025. We hope you enjoyed the ride. TKB Naomi Harris took us back to a time when life was less complicated and neighbors looked out for each other. While the times were hard, they built the resilience that is one of our trademarks today. Were you told any memories of times gone by? Tell us about them by commenting on our social media. Facebook at SKNICH, Instagram at Cultural Heritage SKN, all one word, and view us on YouTube at St. Kitts Culture. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us again next week at the same time on Create TV, St. Kitts Cable Channel number 4, and our previously mentioned social media for our live show, The Cook-Up. Living Heritage will be back 2 weeks from now. Remember, together we can safeguard our living heritage.